Chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Fitness, your home for gains and brains. And we've talked a bit about what the average person is going to actually achieve on PEDs, and how the masses believe that anybody can take them and they turn into a pro bodybuilder. That is absolutely not the case. And even for a lot of guys that keep their diet in check and still train, we're going to see an example here. You still may not really be impressed with the results. So the main guy we're going to look at here is Clavicular. He is one of the prominent looksmaxxers currently, as far as I know. I'm not very familiar with him or his content, and we're going to go over some of the cycles that he publicly admits to taking, which I give him credit for that. It's very funny, in the fitness scene, people are on tons of gear, and they claim they don't do anything. In the looksmaxxing scene, these guys will post their cycles, and then their physiques, and they look natural. And then here he is with his, I guess, girlfriend that he spent all this time looksmaxxing to obtain. You can have your own opinion on her. But I'm not going to be totally mean to the guy, right? You got to give him some credit. He is handsome, I would say. He's definitely well-dressed, and he definitely has some clear skin as well. You know, I think there's a good chance that Clavicular uses the partner of today's video, Geology. As you guys know, I have been using Geology's products for a number of months now. I have been seeing the improvements myself, and for the month of July only, you can get a full trial set completely free. Geology is a 41-time award-winning company that creates simple and effective skin, hair, and body care routines personalized just for you. Their products are highly rated, with tens of thousands of 5-star reviews and clinical-grade ingredients that have been proven to work for decades. As guys, it's very easy to overlook skincare, and then when you try to get started, there's so many products, you give up because it seems so complicated. Geology takes all the guesswork out of it, giving you clear instructions on what to use, how much to use, and the best times of day to apply them for best results. Whether it is acne, dry skin, redness on the face, that is mine, under eye circles, or general anti-aging, Geology has got what you need. To get started, all you have to do is take the simple 60-second quiz on their website. Answer some questions, tell them about your goals and your preferences, and they will design a personalized routine and then deliver it right to your door. On top of that too, all of their products are travel friendly, they smell great, they do not make a mess, they're not sticky. From top to bottom, they make the entire skincare process as easy as it can be. So, what are you waiting for? Use my link down below and my promo code REVIVAL100 to grab your personalized skincare trial set for 100% off. That is totally free for the month of July. Plus, you get a free gift and up to 50% off any add-ons. Trust me, your skin will thank you. But let's just take a look at some of his posts. This one here, he's in, looks like zoo culture. It looks like he's the one on the left. He's very aesthetic, there's no doubt about that. You see him from the side though here. As I always talk about the head to torso size test, he's not that big overall. And then the first comment here says, both on roids, both standing there looking absolutely natty. Sad world we live in. Someone says, I think Connor. Oh, is this Connor Sinann? The dude that's friends with Hassan and Greg Doucette? He says maybe on Rad 140 sarm, not roids, but could be wrong. MK677 and Rad 140 can make that body easily. Oh, it is him. He says, LOL, nobody looks like how I look naturally at my age, besides maybe genetically gifted black guys. So this is what Connor looks like, at least in one of the prominent posts on his profile. Here he is again. He looks to do the same pose very routinely. And at least in this post here, I mean, he looks bigger than Clavicular. I mean, they're both impressive. I'm not going to be one of these guys that says they both look like shit. They obviously don't. We got Clavicular here again. POV, used incorrectly. Well, actually, I guess if he's in the mirror, it's not incorrect. We'll give him a pass for that one. You found social media influencer lighting. We can see here once again. Yeah, I mean, he's aesthetic, definitely. He's got a good taper. He's got wide shoulders. His waist is narrow. I don't know how tall he is, but he cannot weigh that much relative to his height, given the size of him, as well as his body fat. He looks to be like low teens body fat. Now to the comments, gear to look natty with the heartbreak emoji. Someone says even if he wasn't, doesn't change the fact he's right, does it? I don't know right about what. Looksmaxxing, I guess? Steffi Deffy says the gear was mostly for his bone development. Was he underdeveloped or something? The one person I talked to that's really into the black pill, she told me that this guy has been on steroids since age 14. Oh, then we see a comment down here that confirms what I said. Does he actually take gear or just a joke? Someone replies he's been on gear since 14 and got kicked out of college for it. You must have got really tied up with some type of administrative or legal matter. Then someone says, but he doesn't look like he is on gear. Most people on gear look way worse than Clavicular does. Most people on gear still look like they don't even lift. Someone says his goal is looksmaxxing, not bodybuilding. He barely even trains. I don't know what his training regimen is like. Maybe we will see. Someone says steroids are only detrimental to looksmaxxing. I don't think overall you could say that. At a certain level, I'm sure they would be. Low doses, though, and given certain things, definitely not, I would think. Then someone says, bro, the amount of gear that he says he takes makes you jacked, even if you train 2 times a week. We'll see about that. Daniel says, no way bro is actually doing gear. Skull emoji. Jimmy says, if you focus on being lean, this is what's going to happen even if on gear. Absolutely correct. This is something I've told you guys as well. I've been saying it for my entirety on YouTube now. It does not matter if you're natural or enhanced. I mean, if you're enhanced, you have more leeway, and you have more margin of error with this. But even so, if you do not eat sufficiently to grow, if you do not bulk committedly for some extended period of time, if you need to, you're never going to get really big. And this guy's goal might not be to get that big, that's fine. I'm just saying in general, if you want to build a lot of muscle mass, and you don't have a lot of body mass right now, where's it going to come from, guys? Even on steroids, your body cannot just magically grow a ton of new tissue out of nothing. You can essentially recomposition more on steroids, especially the more that you take. Even so, there is a cap with that. There's a reason the biggest bodybuilders still bulk all the time. You cannot beat food. And this might sound hyperbolic, but it's really not. Steroids are still not as anabolic as food at the end of the day. Here's another one of him, half natty lighting, it says. So he's accomplishing his goals for sure, but you can even see, right? Look at his arms. They look bigger because he's lean, but his arms are not that big. They're probably like maybe 14 inches. Maybe. And even more comments. Hopped on gear to look natty. Dead rose, dead rose. Low-key look natty. Blasted gear, by the way. All the gear and no abs. Imagine if you drank raw milk. But that guy makes an interesting comment too about the abs. He's quite lean, but his abs, they're not fully in. Like, he's got the serratus and the obliques coming in nicely, but the center abs are not totally there. So I would assume, based on this, he might not train his abs, or at least not very effectively. Alright, now this one is a great example of the manipulation that comes with social media and being low body fat. People on a glance would see this photo and be like, this guy is so big. So he's got the pose going on here, he's got the low body fat. I'm sure this has been edited to some degree, perhaps a lot. And then compare this photo right here. Let's go back on his feed. Now let's look at him right here. Does this look like anything outside of the novice phase, roughly speaking? Him in this general shirt? In terms of the overall size, late novice, maybe roughly intermediate. I don't know how strong this guy is. See, here's another good example too. He's in the mirror here, and he looks bigger in this picture than we've seen in a lot of these other ones. This could be edited to some extent. You would see this at a glance and be like, this guy is yoked out of his mind. He's so big. Okay, compare this, and you see him in the general shirt. Yeah, I mean, he's not filling out this shirt a whole lot. I doubt this shirt is anything beyond a medium size. You can see it's a bit baggy on him even. And this looks like him on the right here. Yeah, I mean, he's clearly got muscles, no doubt about that. But is this anything that would require steroids to achieve? I don't think so. Or for most guys, at least it should not be. Here you can see him walking in from the side. They're going to go crazy over this post because he mogs this skinny fat dude here. But let's pause here and look at him from the side. I mean, you don't really see any chest sticking out in the shirt. A little bit of traps. He doesn't really have much of a back sticking out. His arms are not that big. I mean, he's got his sleeve halfway rolled up to reveal more of his arm. His legs are not that developed. You can look at his shorts. But I think this guy is in his early 20s, if I'm not mistaken. So, almost a decade of steroid use for this.
Frankly, I'm depressed and ashamed.
Alright, so here's a video he has on his official TikTok. It's called Clavicular Ascension. Here's how we started. covered in pimples, extremely underweight, joined bodybuilding forums, started roiding. You see that? Broke my ankle, no progress, still small for my height. Oh, the mask era. Started Accutane, HGH to heal my ankle. It gave me a jaw. Started focusing on face. He has his hair growing out now. Masteron for puberty, started browsing PSL, Melanotan 2, JFL at eating more Accutane. It's going kind of fast now. Chewing. Alright, his jaw's improving. I don't know what I was doing here. PDO for hunter eyes. What is that? It worked. Fat dissolving. Is he injecting something into his face? Botox for hunter eyes. More lean maxing. Alright. Mogging now. University. Kicked out for roids. So he actually was. This is confirmed. Tren maxing. Wait a minute. We gotta scroll back here, kids. Trenbolone. He's taking it. Or at least he used to take it. Okay, we continue. Uh-oh, his hairline. Tren descended me. Okay, fixed. I guess it had too many side effects. Fake hobbies for Tinder. Okay, so here is the final transformation. We have the bloated pimple face at the beginning. Now he's much leaner. He claims that he got hunter eyes. I'm not sure how much what he did actually helped, or if it's just the way he postures now. And yet again, even with the jaw, man, I mean, was his jaw that bad before, or was it just the fact that he was covered in more fat and water at the beginning? So we've already seen in that one single TikTok, he admitted to taking HGH, which he says was for his ankle. I guess wink wink. Masteron and Tren. He might have mentioned another one too that I can't remember right now, but that's already 3 compounds. Now let's look at his official posts on looksmaxx.org and see his full cycles. Alright, this one is called My Favorite Beginner Steroid Cycle from Experienced Roid Cell with pics. Dude, I love the terminology these guys use, just as an aside. Anything cell. I think it's hilarious. But this was posted on January 31st, 2024, so a year and a half ago at the time of this recording. The absolute best stack I've ever ran is as follows. Test enanthate 550 mgs weekly. So for those of you that don't know, that's general testosterone you hear about. In terms of TRT, guys always talk about only TRT. Legitimate doctor prescribed TRT, unless it's from like a shady clinic, is going to be 150 perhaps, roughly. Maybe a little bit lower, maybe a tad higher. But even 200 milligrams of testosterone per week is more than actual TRT. That's like a tiny cycle. So 550, that's not a small amount. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, in like the fitness industry and bodybuilding and stuff, it's not a lot, but it's also not a little either. Then we've got Masteron, enanthate, 200 milligrams weekly on top of that too. Masteron, I've never used it. As far as I know though, it's very popular as like a cutting compound. It gives you like the dry look and increases vascularity. And then it says Aromacyon, maybe it means Aromacin, when needed, usually 5 milligrams every other day. I think that is an anti-estrogen or aromatase inhibitor for 16 weeks. The test is going to be your binding compound and is the most androgenic roid you can get without getting RAPED with sides not anabolic, androgenic. If you don't know, androgenic means producing male-like characteristics. I love testosterone. The problem is you don't feel like you're, wrong form of you're, on roids until like week 4-ish. Well, yeah, if you're using a longer ester, especially, then you start feeling good. The Masteron keeps your E2, that's estrogen, levels down so you don't get gyno, and also is a good DHT, so it keeps you looking drier, like I mentioned. It could make you bald if you have the gene, though. Yes, you notice a lot of bodybuilders go bald really quickly. Many of them, if they're genetically predisposed, if they push things like Masteron, and I think Primobolin's the other one, they're very popular because it's not a lot of side effects except the hair loss. If you push those really hard, guys will lose their hair very quickly. I took test at 16, so it def gave me bone growth and causes me to look older than other kids my age. I gained about 20 pounds of lean tissue from this stack over 4 months. Based on what we saw in that previous video, a lot of that's probably water weight. I felt incredible and had great sex drive and no side effects. After the cycle, you have to PCT with Novadex and enclomiphene, ideally tapering your dose down for the weeks following end of cycle. This is giga important, so read. You have to wait 5 half-lives before taking post-cycle therapy drugs for the roids to clear your system, For test D, it's a 5-day half-life, so don't start PCT for 25 days. Like you guys just saw my previous video about the whole natty or not thing. Like, dude, general teenage kids know how to get this out of their system. They know the times and the half-lives. You guys think that professional so-called natural bodybuilders don't know how to do this? And pro athletes don't know how to do this too? Wrong form of you're gonna feel shitty after your cycle, but if you have a good protocol after, you will retain 60 to 75% of your gains. The cycle will run you $600 to $700. Really? Now this is him before roiding, as he calls it. 175 to 180 pounds here. Okay, so if he weighs that much at this body fat and this size, he's gotta be pretty tall. Then he says this is his few months of the cycle. 17 years old, 6'2", okay, around 200 pounds. I actually had a good physique when I bulked. There you go. This is as much of a lean bulk as you can reasonably expect for most guys. And the steroids definitely help with that too. This goes into something too that I mentioned in the latest Natty or Not video. Is it better to admit to taking PEDs and be honest about it? Or is it better to lie about it and then not kind of open that box for your audience, especially the young audience? You can see here, this kid says, is this safe to take as a teen? For dimorphism gains too. And then we see another kid on this forum, beginner stack progress at 17. 4 weeks into the cycle and I'm up 6 to 7 kgs, mostly water, by default. 10 milligrams rad 140 every day, 20 milligrams MK677 5 days on, 2 days off, and clomiphene 6.25 milligrams every day for the first 2 weeks of rad, and 12.5 milligrams every day for 2 to 4 weeks PCT, and anastrozole 0.25 milligrams 2 times weekly, 2.5 milligrams Cialis daily. 17 years old on all of this stuff, and just taking Cialis at 17. Then he says, I'm planning on adding 1 milligram CJC 1295. I don't know what that is, maybe a peptide, with DAC, same thing I guess, injected 2 times weekly. I've had some minor height increases before the cycle, around 1 centimeter in 4 months. That could just be puberty, not totally done yet. I'm measuring weekly to see if I get any more, though the main purpose of the stack is muscle building. I'm still holding on to some hope, might be cope, that my growth plates are open and that I'll be able to escape manlet hell. 173 centimeters currently. Okay, 173 centimeters is 5'8". That's just below average. Manlet hell, he's probably using that sarcastically. But then again, all this at 17. Maybe he's not. I'm also waiting for a wrist x-ray to determine whether or not I should add HGH and IGF-1 into the stack, and will be job maxing soon to make this happen. Well, I guess he's gonna get a job to pay for all his gear. That's good, right? Side effects. First week I had some insomnia, which lasted a few days, some face and back acne, and some lethargy. My blood pressure was also slightly elevated, around 130/80, so I added Cialis to be on the safe side. Okay, so the Cialis is for blood pressure management, at least in theory. Muscle fullness, size, and definition has improved. I can gym cell 5 days a week with consistent progressive overload. He should definitely check out one of my programs if he wants to maximize his time in the gym. I provide everything laid out for you to make serious progress over the long term, not simply another list of exercises. He should also check out my body composition Bible to maximize the time spent in the kitchen, because you can spend all the time you want in the gym, but if your eating is not up to snuff, and most people's definitely is not, you're never going to look how you want to look. I've also been receiving more IOIs, that means indicators of interest, than usual. Still not much, but I expect to get a lot more once my face looks normal again. I've also received compliments on my gym progress from my normie friends. Okay, let's take a look at his current physique. This is it. He mentioned he was 5'8". I don't think we saw his weight, but if he's this lean, he probably weighs, what, 135, 140 pounds? Here's another case too, right? You see him in this one, it's far away, and given different lighting aspects, he can look bigger here than he does in this picture. Now this guy says, rate my hard Ascension stack. TBH, I have some decent features, but more than anything, my biggest fail is a lack of bone mass. 5'8", frauded, 5'10", 16 years old, 130 pounds. My growth plates are almost fused, so I'm spamming AI and HGH to maybe grow another inch. Holy shit, man. HGH 5 IUs daily. That's not a little amount. I mean, a typical amount that an older guy is going to receive from a clinic is probably about 2 IUs per day. Exemestine, 12.5 milligrams every other day. I don't know what that is. Testosterone, 300 milligrams weekly. HCG, 250 IU. HCG is basically a way to get your balls working, even when you're taking exogenous hormones. I don't know why you would take that. I mean, you seem young. I doubt you're going to be looking to have children soon. Maybe to keep your own natural production going, but even so, HCG is not cheap at all. I don't see why this is in here. And then enclomiphene, 12.5 milligrams on cycle. He says I'm pretty skinny. That's apparent. And I have an 18-inch bidelt. I don't know what that is. So hopefully it helps with muscle mass too. Been gym selling for 1.5 years with not much results. Well, there you go, right? Been in the gym for over a year. Still 130 pounds. And instead of eating more and getting his programming totally on point, he's going to start taking all of this stuff. iHeartHGH says you should look into VAR since your growth plates are about to close. Could give you that last second height velocity boost. I don't know what that's based on. Dutch Manlet, that's the original poster. Really? I've read lots of height maxing threads but never read of using VAR for height. I'll look into it. Repulse says add in mast. That's Masteron. He says I'm on it right now, 16 as well, regarding Anavar. There are a couple studies that show height velocity increases in teenagers and children by more than double. Oh, well, look at that. iHeartHGH, who just said he was 16, has cited 2 studies. So good for him, at least he actually has them. That's more than most people do when they just say, studies show. He's on 20 milligrams a day of Anavar. This guy says a picture would help, not gonna lie. Yeah, there's probably a reason he's not posting his picture. This guy says it's good. Don't PCT stay on this for a minimum 2 years. We have another guy here, his Ascension cycle. Full cycle for max height and facial aesthetics, 3 month on, 1 month off, then repeat. He says he doesn't have a source for HGH. Come on, bro. IGF-1, 80 micrograms daily. Hexmorelin, 125 mcg 2 times daily. Aromacin, 6.25 milligrams every other day. HCG, 800 IU 2 times weekly. Once again with the HCG, man. Someone asks age. He says 16, but I hit puberty late at 14, so I still have until like 18 to 19 to grow. So once again, man, we have a full-on teenager here, not even out of high school yet, and he's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, also finasteride too, compounds. And this is not really a muscle growth stack, as he said, it's for height and facial aesthetics. I don't know how much that would actually help. Maybe it does to some extent, but these boys are in deep. Okay, let's do one more before we go back to clavicular. This guy says, rate my stack. My goal is muscle size and bone growth and density. 15.5. You're going to put your half age, bro? If you put your half age, you are way too young to be taking steroids. 5'11", 188 pounds. I plan on running 500 mil of Test E twice a week while taking IGF-1. These guys are all on IGF-1. For my ball sack, I plan on using 250 IU of HCG. Okay, somebody must be telling them to do IGF-1 and HCG, because all of these have said that so far. Of all the things that you probably don't need to be taking, especially as a young guy on gear, it will be those 2 things. This is to prevent fertility issues. Well, yeah, once again, man, you're a young dude. I highly doubt you're trying to get a woman pregnant right now. If you did, could you even afford it? Like, what's the problem if you do happen to become infertile right now? You can go on HCG later in life and get it back. And really, a lot of guys who blast a ton of gear and never take HCG, they still are able to have kids. Alright, he's talking to himself. He says, bump, bump. This one says, don't forget to add the tren and D-ball. He says, D-ball's bad for the joints. I literally die. My joints aren't good. Yeah, that's good to know at 15.5, bro. Tren at 15 sounds dumb. Yeah, well, probably, but taking IGF-1 and HCG on top of test, is it that much dumber? Okay, back to clavicular. He's got some updates here. Okay, this picture is from August 2024. Based on what we just saw earlier on his profile, more recent, I don't think he's really grown much, if at all. Right now, cycle-wise, I'm just running 400 test, 40 Accutane, 40 Telmus. I think that's telmisartan. I believe that's for blood pressure, if I'm not mistaken. 1 gram caffeine, 3 times daily. 10 milligrams creatine, 10 milligrams Cialis. Adding in when it gets shipped, taking forever, 50 tren E, 300 EQ, 5 Anavar. Dude, what is the point of 5 milligrams of Anavar? The girls take more than that. 100 milligrams melatonin, titrating up for the anti-aging. I'll take his word for it. 100 milligrams P5P. I don't know what that is. PSP used to be a game system. Portable. 20 milligrams Lasix daily. Isn't Lasix an eye surgery? 5 milligrams Memantine daily for inhib. Bro, I don't even know half the stuff he's talking about. So this was him 3 months prior to this post. And then this is him now. I am 14 pounds heavier JFL. Roids are god tier. I only use Eplorinone 2, still waiting on furosemide from India. Dude, the amount of stuff this guy's taking, and these other guys that follow him evidently too. These guys are on almost a dozen compounds in total, some of them. And then one last update. This is from June 1st, 2025. I did not find the full forum about this, but I saw a screenshot that I was sent. He says he's on 200 test, 15 LGD, that's a SARM, 3 IU of growth every day, 25 mgs of tren E per week. Dude, what is with these baby little doses? Are you even getting a benefit at that point? Then 10 milligrams of Reta. I think that's a type of fat loss peptide. Retatrutide or something like that, every 5 days. He says he's gained more size with LGD than any other compound with none of the sides. SARMs are OP as fuck. People just misuse them. Well, if you've gained a lot more size in the past few months, I guess your bar is not very high. So that was interesting, wasn't it? But yet again, guys, a few key things that I have talked about before, and I'm vindicated yet again. Number 1, if you do not bulk, even if you blast a bunch of steroids, you're never going to get that big. It's physically impossible. Number 2, the amount of people that take steroids is far more than most people understand. We just saw a bunch of teenagers taking all of these things, and if you looked at them, you would never even know it, which is the third point. Most people that take gear don't look like they take gear, let alone the ones that look really impressive, and people think that you can just become this remarkable physique simply from taking some stuff and doing a cycle or two. It simply does not work that way, no matter how much people want it to, because in their heads it makes them feel better. Like, if I just took steroids, I could look insane as well. No, you couldn't. And you see a lot of these looksmaxxing guys too, they're not even going for general muscle growth. They want to increase their height as much as they can. They want to widen their jaw and affect their bone growth and all this other stuff. I mean, people are going to find drugs and use them as they see fit. And if you want to achieve the maximum looks that you can, I guess you could work steroids into that in some form. You could do this type of route, and you could not grow a huge amount of muscle, and really you could build this amount of muscle that these guys have without any steroids if you're not afraid to eat. If you are afraid to eat, you might actually need them. You could go the extreme bodybuilder route and blast every single thing and completely fry your looks and your hairline to get as big as possible and just bulk all the time. And for a lot of guys too, I'm sure there's a medium. You can build a good amount of muscle and maybe even compete at a good level, but also keep your looks to a good extent, keep your hairline, which is very genetic as well, but there's measures that can be taken. So the world is your oyster. You can do what you want, but in general, if you are a teenager on these forums taking all of this stuff for the results that we've seen, and a lot of these guys are not going to post themselves because their results are that mediocre, you might want to pump the brakes a bit. And if you're one of these guys that is struggling so much in the gym to simply build some novice muscle mass, and you're taking gear now to try to push through that, you should talk to me instead. I can get you these gains faster than you thought, and keeping your looks intact without any drugs. But this has been it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. Get your free geology trial set down below for July 2025 only. Check out my training programs and my nutrition guide, and get in contact with me. We will get you on the right track as soon as we can. And I will catch you guys next time.